Hello, Internet Magic Man here again from MMOBomb.com, and welcome to another edition of Ask MMOBomb. Now, I'm sorry this one's a little bit later than normal. Superstorm Sandy kind of made life interesting here this week, so we had to take some time to do some other things. I do want to say I received a number of emails, comments, YouTube messages, and pings and Skypes, and just making sure that everything was okay with the storm that the eastern part of the United States got. I appreciate that concern. It really meant a lot to me and to some of the other crew from MMOBomb that lives here on the East Coast. So thank you very much for your concern. We're fine. Just got a little delayed, that's all. So, what we're going to do is cover the questions. This is the show, once again, where you ask them, we answer them. Last week, we talked about ad-based content and whether we thought free-to-play games would evolve to the point of being totally ad-supported. And while we talked about a particular style of ad support, a few people did bring up a few things that I think bear mentioning before we get to this week's questions. We weren't speaking in particular to organic advertising. I'm actually a big fan of organic advertising. A number of people referenced Ghost Recon having Razer and Assassin's Creed billboards and things like that. I'm actually kind of a big fan of that type of advertising. I mean, you wouldn't play a NASCAR game and without the ads being on the cars, right? So it feels organic that those advertising tools should be there. So yeah, I'm big time in favor of that. We also got a number of comments about Hitman and the way that it's run, where you watch certain commercials and things like that. That's kind of a unique circumstance, and you can kind of game the system a little bit there to play the game without really watching all of the ads. So I'd encourage you to check that one out just to see some different ideas for ad-based gaming. We also received a number of viewers that said that other games have tried this. And I did mention that last episode. The names just didn't come to me at that time. So kudos to the viewers for checking up on some interesting information. Let's get to this week's questions. Alright, so our first question today comes from Lord Picasso, who asks if MMOBomb is ever going to do first look or gameplay videos for smartphone or mobile MMOs. And to add to your question, Lord Picasso, I'm also going to throw in console-based gaming, because we get that question an awful lot too. Our intent? Yes. Particularly with console-based gaming, we're seeing more with Dust 514, we're seeing on the Xbox the Happy Wars, we're seeing more and more free-to-play pushing into consoles. So I just feel that at some point, yes, it's just going to make sense to start covering some of that free-to-play thing, those free-to-play things. There's a real problem when you start talking about smartphone MMOs and free-to-play games and things like that, is that particular market, and that's not to say that, Xbox Marketplace or PlayStation Marketplace isn't overcrowded, but the mobile is really overcrowded. So you really have to be careful on, is it worth sinking a bunch of time to produce content on something that, maybe a couple of hundred of people are interested in, or do you really hold back and wait until the community starts talking about a particular game and then do a first look for it? But then what was kind of the point of the first look if it's after the fact that everybody really jumped in? So the smartphone stuff, while it would be nice to get into, we probably won't be for a little while. Consoles, I would think, would come first. But we definitely want to give you as much coverage as we can on anything that interests you guys and girls. So, not to say that's impossible or that we won't do it. I think we'll push into consoles first, since there's fewer titles and we can just grab some information to get it out to you guys. The smartphones and the mobile, that may come later, and I think you would see more gameplay action episodes of that rather than real first looks, because we're going to want to make content that you want to see, and so we're going to look for your feedback probably on what games we should cover in that marketplace. Great question. Let's get to our next question. Alright, so Gror1337, doesn't that, said, I see what you did there. You try, Leet. Maybe Gror-leet, or Gror-leet. I'll let you guys decide. GROR1337 asks, Magic Man, what do you think of private servers? I don't really play on a ton of private servers. I don't have anything against them. Obviously, it's nice to jump into particularly pay-to-play games that support a private server type thing, because then you don't have to pay, so that's cool. Obviously, I'm a big fan of that. I mean, if you want to play WoW without actually having to pay for WoW, then a private server is a good way to go. My only problem with private servers is obviously the player base. If you don't know a ton of people that are willing to jump on this private server with you, the player community can be a lot smaller. Usually is a lot smaller than a normal server. But not only the player size, you tend to see cliques on private servers more so than on standard servers, because those large groups of friends jumped in and are all playing on a private server together. Now, you maybe got access to the server because you knew a friend of a friend of a friend type thing, so you know a few people on the server, but you don't know some of the larger groups, and so it can be a bit cliquish as far as getting things done. In general, though, I'm a big fan of private servers. You don't have to pay. It's the same game experience. You just might, it's going to really depend on how you gain access to the private server, or how you decide to launch, if you're on that side of things, how you decide to launch a private server and who you launch it with, so that you have a comfortable sized group of people. I mean, if you're a hardcore raider in World of Warcraft, it doesn't really make sense to join a private server that has 14 people on it. It's not going to meet your endgame needs. So, if you have a large group of friends, go for it. I'm all in favor of it, as long as you're not violating end-user license agreements, which I have to say, officially, never violate an end-user license agreement. Officially. Don't do it. Next question! Alright, so our next question comes from Miso Soup, who asks, do you think it's a good idea for game companies to partner with clothing retailers with clothing retailers, so that you could do things like purchase real in-life clothing, get a code, and use it to redeem that same type of clothing in the game? Sure. I'm not huge on skins and cosmetic items and things like that. I'm perfectly fine with going into the basic character generator that's given to me in most free-to-play games, and I'll find something that I like. If you can build up cash currency in the game, then maybe I'll buy some cosmetic items, but I've never once shelled out money for a cosmetic item because it's really just not important to me. So, obviously Havek, though, is a huge, if you've listened to the free-to-play cast, he's very big on achievements and gathering all those little tiny things in games, pets and mounts and little things that'll sit in your bank for 17 years and you'll never ever touch. I mean, he's really big on the achievement and the collecting and stuff. And so if a game offers kind of unique little things like that, somebody like Havek is probably much more likely to pick that type of stuff up than I am. Especially if it's already at a clothing shop that he already frequents, regardless of whether the game's involved or not. So I think, yeah, it makes sense, both from a company's perspective and the clothing retailer, their perspective as well. A little bit of cross-advertising never hurts anybody. They're both obviously getting something out of the deal that they liked and that they think is worth the partnership. So for us, it's just kind of a bonus. I personally would never go out of my way to, I don't shop at the Gap. Obviously, I'm wearing a Hawked t-shirt. I don't shop at the Gap. I'm not going to go to the Gap and buy a shirt specifically because they're giving away an Aeon code that will give me the same baby blue polo shirt to put on my character. I just don't care enough. But Havek is a big Aeropostale guy. Or not Aeropostale, who was it? It's American Eagle. A big American Eagle guy. Free advertisement for American Eagle there. Sorry, Aeropostale. He's a big American Eagle guy. And so if American Eagle was running something like that where they gave a World of Warcraft certificate and it could have his button down and his jeans, hell, he'd be all over that. He'd just bank tab would be full of them. For me, it's no big deal. But yeah, I say the more cross-advertising, as long as both companies think they're getting something out of it, you as the player, reap the benefits. Good question. Next question. All right, our next question comes from One Man Wolfpack, who's actually contributed to the free-to-play cast before, so rawr again. That was kind of a lame howl, but we'll see what we can do at the end of this. One Man Wolfpack wants to know my thoughts on ADD in the current gamer, or specifically MMO culture. All right. For those of you that maybe don't know what I'm talking about, ADD is attention deficit disorder, and I'm going to make this real simple and oversimplify the hell out of it because this is not a medical show, it's a gaming show, but it's the inability to focus on things for a lengthy period of time. So the way One Man Wolfpack is using it, he is implying that we jump from game to game to game to game to game so fast, we can't pay attention to one particular game. What's that do to the genre, and what's that say about us as gamers? And I have to say to One Man... Oh, look, a kitty. I'm sorry. I got a little distracted there. Yeah, I think you're right. And there's two sides of this. Obviously, there's us as gamers. But this is kind of a bad deal for us. We're constantly looking for the next best thing, and so we jump from game to game to game to game. From the other side of that, though, it's also a bit of an indication of the industry itself, and that titles are coming out so fast and so frequently from so many companies that, and to be honest, I'm sorry, a lot of them are carbon copies of other things, and very similar and almost exact copies of things, that you have this, well, let me go check out this new game that came out this month. Oh, it looks like this game I played last month, so I'm done. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to look for that next thing. So from the business side of it, yeah, it's kind of bad that you can't retain a customer base. I think back to when I first really started playing MMOs, and that's around the time that Final Fantasy XI came out. I did play Ultima a little bit. I did play EverQuest. Again, most of you know that I got started with EverQuest in online adventures for the PS2, but I didn't really sink a ton of time in them. Final Fantasy XI, the day it came out, I bought and played the hell out of for a long time. So that's about the time frame we're talking about. And if you think of the MMOs that were out at that time, you had World of Warcraft, you had Final Fantasy XI, you had a little while, you had Dark Age of Camelot, but the group of games was a lot smaller. There was about 6 games that everybody played at that time. Now, there's hundreds. So from a development side, it's pretty much expected that that's going to happen. It's just impossible to have that group of people that you had. In Final Fantasy XI, I knew probably about 50 of my Link Shell members by their first names and where they lived. Transpose that onto games today, I know some of their names and where some of them live, but not nearly as much, because as more games come out, people jump in different directions. And then because you're not playing with a group of people that you've played with for a long time, you guys jump out to other things. And we're guilty of it too. I mean, websites like MMOBomb, to be fair, right, we kind of propagate that type of gamer mentality, don't we? To be fair. Because we show a game, and then a week and a half later we show another game, and 2 weeks later we show another game, and then we're doing an open beta for this game, and then we're doing this. And so we kind of show you a spotlight of all these things coming up, because that's kind of our job when we make things for the website, is to report what's new and what's going on in some other games. So there's a bit of encouragement from the media side to jump around on games as well. From the gamer side, it really sucks. Because the last time I feel that I was really invested in an MMO was probably Final Fantasy XI. I've known an awful lot of people in WoW. I know a ton of people in free-to-play games. But the last time that I felt really invested was that long ago. Because now right now, on my cards right now, I play World of Warcraft, I play Aeon, I play Guild Wars 2, I play a little bit of the Secret World. I've been in Lord of the Rings Online a little more often since I did a gameplay action video for that. I've been trying to relearn my character. If you watch that video, you'll see why I had to relearn my character. So there's like 5 or 6 games that I'm in right now where You know, back in the day, you picked one MMO, and that was your game, and everybody else that didn't play it, they were idiots. We don't really have that anymore. So it's kind of both sides, and I think it kind of sucks for gamers, in my opinion. But yeah, it's not going to get better anytime soon, because more and more games just are going to keep flooding the market. Great question. That's just my personal take on it. I'd be interested in your personal take on it, too. Put your comments below on whether you think this like ADD culture in MMOs is a good thing, a bad thing, what. Give me your opinion on it. Next question. All right, our final question comes from Stojanowski, who says, Magic Man, I'm wondering, what cartoon or movie would you like to see as an MMO? Huh. Yeah, I mean, obviously you think about that when you have your favorite movies. You know, Star Wars, everybody likes that. It becomes a shitty MMO. But me personally, what?
I know what I'd pick.
What?
Dora the Explorer.
All right, Havek wants you to know. Havek, that's not actually a bad... I'm going to agree with Havek. He says Dora the Explorer, and I know some of you are like, no, Dora. Just wait a minute. Hear me out. You got a ton of classes, right? You've got the Explorer class, the Cousin class. That could be like Diego, and you got the map class. You got backpack class. That you, if you roll a backpack, I guess all you do is follow somebody around.
Can I be immigration?
No, Havek, you.
PvP, immigration.
Havek, you can't be PvP immigration class. No, like, I mean, I guess that would kind of work, but no. But all joking aside, yeah, Dora the Explorer. Why not? I'm sure there's probably already something up on Nick Jr., but Havek, you're a pain in my ass. All right, guys, so that concludes this episode of Ask MMOBomb. I want to thank you for joining in, checking us out. Make sure you guys put your questions in the comments below. Come on over to the site, leave your comments, questions there, or you can email them directly to magicman@mmobomb.com. We did choose 2 winners for our Gunner giveaway last week. The glasses are hopefully going to be shipped tomorrow. Just got confirmation of the final address today. So hopefully going to ship those tomorrow and then get some pictures and or video of our winners for next week's show. Guys, it's always a pleasure, and until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.
They ain't moving, they be watching, so I'm out here doing work. Then I get the party popping, cause with every minute wasting, know my chances steady dropping.